Welcome everyone, this is your own channel Learner's Saga. In this video we will discuss the remaining portion, that is paragraph number 20 to 23 of chapter number 9, The Bond of Love. But before we start, I like to request you to press the like button, subscribe the channel if you are new, and also to share and comment on the video. So without wasting any time, let's begin. Students, in our previous video we have discussed that how the narrator's wife and the narrator went to meet Bruno at the zoo in Mysore. There they met Bruno, and the narrator's wife became emotional. She wanted to get her Bruno back, so they met the superintendent at Bangalore and requested him to get Bruno back. But what happened? The superintendent was a very good man. He not only consented, he not only gave them the consent to get back, but he also wrote a letter to the curator asking him to manage a cage for the transportation. So now from paragraph number 20. Back we went to Mysore again, armed with the superintendent's letter. Baba was driven into a small cage and hoisted on top of the car. The cage was tied securely, and a slow and careful return journey to Bangalore was accomplished. So a very good one, a peaceful one, a soothing one, particularly for the narrator's wife. It is said that they went to Mysore again, Mysore in the zoo, armed with the superintendent's letter. As the superintendent has gave them the letter, so the consent letter was there. Baba was driven into a small cage and hoisted on top of the car. So the cage was put on top of the car. The cage was tied securely, and a slow and careful return journey to Bangalore was accomplished. And they returned very slowly, securely, very carefully to Bangalore. Once home, a squad of coolies were engaged for special work in our compound. Squad means a group, you can see here. Once home, that means once they reached their home, a group of coolies were appointed for the special work in their compound. What is that? An island was made for Baba. It was 20 feet long and 15 feet wide, and was surrounded by a dry pit or moat, 6 feet wide and 7 feet deep. So we can understand. So now they are taking precaution. The question of safety, for that reason Baba or Bruno previously he was sent to zoo, so that this time as this may not happen again, they were taking precaution. What is that? An island was made. It was not really an island, but actually they wanted to create a very friendly atmosphere for the wild animal. It was 20 feet long and 15 feet wide. That means a ditch was dug and surrounded by dry pit. Pit or moat, you can see here. Pit means the hole, and moat means a ditch full of water. So a moat was dug 6 feet wide and 7 feet deep. A wooden box that once housed fowls was brought and put on the island for Baba to sleep in at night. And for the sloth bear, what happened? A wooden box was used. It was brought. Previously it was used to house the fowls. Fowls means the birds. Previously it was used for the birds, but now it is used for Baba, for Bruno. It was put on that island. Island means the particular place surrounding which a ditch was dug, and the ditch depth was 7 feet. Okay. A straw was placed inside to keep him warm, and his baby the gnarled stump, along with his gun, the piece of bamboo, both of which had been sentimentally preserved since he had been sent away to the zoo, were put back for him to play with. And what happened in his island? Island means, students, it's a stretch of land in their compound, and around that land, from all quarters, ditch was dug, and the ditch was filled with water, so that he may not enter uh, the house or near the tenant's children. Okay, so there was a wooden box for the wild animal so that he can sleep on that, and some straw was also given to keep him warm. And what were given? The stump with which he pretended that it was his baby, and the piece of bamboo also which he took for the gun. All these two things were preserved sentimentally. That means when Bruno was sent off for the zoo, these two things were kept out of love, out of sentiment. And now, as Bruno is there, they gave that two things to Bruno so that he may play with. In few days, the coolies hoisted the cage onto the island and Baba was released. He was delighted. Standing on his hind legs, he pointed his gun and cradled his baby. So after a few days, when the island was completed, the creation of the island was completed, then island, I have already told you, students, it's actually not island. It was in the compound of the narrator's home. They created this artificially to give a perfect shelter for the wild animal Bruno. Okay, so when he was in that particular island, he was feeling very delighted. He stood on his hind legs. Hind legs means the back legs, and he pointed his gun and the baby. All those things we have already studied. The stump and a piece of bamboo he took for baby and gun. My wife spent hours sitting on a chair there while he sat on her lap. He was 15 months old and pretty heavy too. And the narrator's wife, as she loved him very much, she placed a chair there and used to caress him for hours. The way my wife reaches the island and leaves it is interesting. I have tied a rope to the overhanging branch of a mango tree with a loop at its end. Putting one foot in the loop, she kicks off with the other to bridge the 6-foot gap that constitutes the width of the surrounding pit. The return journey is made the same way, but who can say now that a sloth bear has no sense of affection, no memory, and no individual characteristics? So this paragraph says that the journey to the island by the narrator's wife was an interesting one. The narrator said that he tied a rope to the overhanging branch of a mango tree in their surrounding. He made a loop by that rope at its end. The narrator's wife went to that island by placing one foot in that rope's loop. Then she kicked off with the other leg, and thereby she crossed that 6-foot gap that is the width of the surrounding pit. And in the same way she returned. But who can say now that a sloth bear has no sense of affection? That means from this story we understood that a sloth bear also has sense of affection. We should not take that a sloth bear is a wild animal and he has no affection, no memory, and no particular characteristics. It is not a sloth bear. Even if it is given love, it can be very affectionate. It has definitely the memory, the good memory for his uh, uh, preserver, and no, it has also the individual feature also. So students, we have completed this story, paragraph number 20 to 23. Um, as a whole, we have completed the whole story, chapter number 9, the bond of love. But before we leave, I again like to request you to comment on the video if you have any doubt or any question. I will try to answer you as soon as possible. So hoping to meet you in our next video with a new chapter. Goodbye.